Welcome back to Something's Wrong Here. Do you like that? I started talking before the music ended. That way we couldn't be interrupted.
You weren't the first one.
I'm proud of you, Ken-Zee. I beat you to it.
Dude, like an oak. Like
no one asked me a question, so I wasn't going to respond.
Like an absolute oak.
Welcome back to Something's Wrong Here. If it's your first time, hey, reach out to us.
I'm a frugivore.
SWHPcast at gmail.com. I am Randy.
We'll get to it.
And I am here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Ken-Zee.
I'm Brian.
And we have a guest in the house tonight. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
By the way, not your first time. Clarifications.
Yeah, it's been a while since I saw you guys.
Editing's a bitch. It may be the first time.
It's been
we worked it out to where we wore the same
Definitely
shirts
the second time. First time.
It depends on when this comes out.
Subjective. This is all up for...
Who are you?
I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
So, Ryan, we are going to talk about sports fans, and a little bit of everything in between tonight.
So
tell us my favorite topic. Totally, I love talking sports.
Oh, I love sports. So tell us a little bit about your background and why we're talking about that tonight.
Yeah, I worked for about a decade in sports radio here in Kansas City, and so I got a chance to be a fan from come from a fan's perspective. First and foremost, as I was, growing up here in Kansas City, and I love these teams. And then I got a really good opportunity to be in the city and covering sports in a time where the teams were winning. Yeah. And so I got to, be in locker rooms for champagne.
I was just going to ask, did you get you got the exclusive access? Got to be on the field,
I got to
interviews,
go to some clubhouses, and cover, playoff experiences.
Who was the best interview you got to do?
Personally, for me, I've always been a huge Alex Gordon fan, and so being able to talk to Alex Gordon and just have like a one-on-one opportunity was really, really cool.
He always seemed like a down-to-earth dude too.
But just like being able to be in the city and cover the team when they're winning Super Bowls or when they're winning World Series, it was just for me it was an amazing experience. But it also was like an altering experience, because, and I said this to a lot of people that started working in that medium, is that it's going to change the way you feel about something that you really, really love. It takes something and it does turn it into work, and it turns it into... I was going to
say, is it better? Does it build the passion, or does it take away from the passion a little bit, because I have to be here at 2:00, the game doesn't start till 6, and...
It takes away in a lot of aspects, because not only is it just a job at that point, a lot of the things are going through the motions, and I feel really spoiled, because if I were to tell fan version of me that, hey, you'd be able to be standing next to Patrick Mahomes,
oh yeah, you'd be fucking hyped,
but you're dude, it was just please get this shit over with so I can I got somewhere to be, please hurry the fuck up, and
you don't want to be there, they don't want to be there.
Not only to do that, but you also saw the other side of it, because you were working to try to get these athletes on, and you had conversations with them, and quite honestly, sometimes they're just not the nicest people, especially when you're approaching them and asking them for something, and largely asking them for their time and to do it for free. And so it's just it puts you in a tough position, because there's people that I don't want to say you idolize, but you definitely look at these people as celebrity status.
Sure.
And then you're that guy's a dick. You're sitting there and you're I don't know, you want to root for him, but I know for a fact he's a jerk.
Was 610 a gold card access though?
I wouldn't go that far.
Not that far. But you had Hilton in the same hotel, just not on the same
what type of access are we talking here?
locker room champagne celebrations.
It's the standard credentialed media.
Ticketmaster didn't have that checkbox when I was at a game.
Yeah, when
I looked, I tried.
When the Royals were making their postseason runs, and it was, they would have certain, amount of credentials that they would award for clubhouse access versus you could go in before the game versus after the game and things like that. But it's nothing that's, really special about it. You because you're the radio affiliate, obviously you get a couple more credentials.
You didn't get the ESPN full access pass.
Those people get the same thing you get. You're standing right next to the same folks. Now they might get some, before the game one-on-ones and things like that. But by and large, the credentialed access, that it is what it is. That's just, you walk into the clubhouse after the game, as long as you got the pass, they don't really give a fuck.
That's a really kind of interesting concept to think about, because if you go in as a fan, as a big fan And I'm not talking like rabid super fan or anything, but I mean, you go in, it's something you're passionate about. And then you, for instance, the 2015 Royals locker rooms. I know now I've heard from a lot of people that have partied with Moose and Eric Hosmer in different places, wherever, that they're real fun guys.
Almost
but like, but even if you're an outsider that bought a ticket, or even credentialed media, which is better because you travel. I mean, you see them more. Like they know who you are, but you're still not like.
You don't know their inside jokes?
I agree. I'm not. No, I agree. Yeah, totally. But it's weird because you're included in a way, but you're still a fly on the wall in a way.
Right.
And would be
you're the bastard redheaded stepchild that just travels
like,
along.
Well, and they
this should be so fucking cool, but it's a little weird.
They approach you too from a very, I guess, professional would probably be the better way to say it. But like they understand the relationship that they have with the media and vice versa. And I think like you do get some people, especially when it comes around the postseason time and not during the down times, like when the teams are winning and you start getting these outside coverages and you got these smaller towns that are sending people to cover. Like you do get some people that are like genuine. They're fanboying out in there. Like they're very excited. Like you could tell like they're super excited to be there. And I don't know, maybe it's just the repetition of it. Maybe it's just the fact that over time you're just like, this is my job and this is what I have to do and I've got a deadline to meet and I've got like you're thinking about the next step rather than just being in the moment. And you can have some really cool experiences. Like I know when the Royals were in their postseason run and I got to be out on the field when they were celebrating, and we had videos and we were taking video out there on it, and like it was really cool to be able to interview people out there on the field and like be a part of that. But it was happening so quickly, and like I was doing a job, and I was so focused on making sure that I got what I needed to get done that I don't know if I was really soaking in that moment. Like I wasn't sure. And also, you're right. Like you're not a part of that. Like you're not sitting there high fiving the dudes, throwing out chest bumps. Like you're there to.
So they didn't hand you a bottle of champagne to pop. And
I mean, there was definite times where like guys would kind of look at you, and then if you'd been there the whole year, I know a lot of the guys that are there on a daily basis. Like there is more of a connection with them than people that are there in a passing way, but it's still like a very distant hey, we kind of throw up a wall, this is who we are, that's who you are.
Can I ask a real quick follow-up to that though? How does it feel professionally to be able to participate in those like celebrations that are for like championships?
It's awesome from a standpoint of like being in that moment, because it's like the time when all of that work kind of pays off and you have that cool instant moment. But then after that, it's like business as usual. Like, Belichick, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, the very next day, you're like, hey, we're moving on and we got to do the next thing. What's happening next?
What's Fesco's next shtick?
And so, like, I don't know. Maybe I didn't get to experience it and live in the moment in a lot of things because I was busy kind of moving on to the next thing. So to kind of go back to what you were asking, like, it did kind of drill away some of that fandom in me, because I'm like, man, sucks. Like the best moments that I could have had for the teams I rooted for, I was busy working.
I was so worried about what's coming Monday morning, man. Yeah.
So
that's cool though.
Do you think it took away from the longevity from being like, oh, at first it was super, super cool, and then as it continued on, it turned into, okay, I've seen it, I've done it, now I'm just tired and ready to go home?
I mean, it was still really fun. Like I think with everything, you start to kind of get a little jaded about what you originally got in.
Like fun at the moment, but then the business as usual again didn't. I
mean, for me, like I think one thing that kept me motivated was just I really liked doing radio. Like it didn't I wasn't originally setting out to be in sports radio.
I got a face for radio.
Like I just love the medium. I think it's fun, and I think the way that you can connect with people is truly unique to that, because especially in terrestrial radio, I worked a lot in the middays, and like people would leave you on at their desk, and they like you would be a part of their entire day for like your 4-hour show. And I don't know if they're always paying attention for the full 4 hours. And not a lot of people are listening that long, by the way. Most are listening in their cars, and you said you got a 9-minute commute. Like I think it's like a 20-minute window is what the ideal or like the normal drive time is. But either way, like when you're working in those meetings, like you have a connection with people, and like that keeps you motivated. Like the rest of it is like it does become work. Like you're just kind of going through the motions, and you know what happens on Mondays and Tuesdays, and like you just it's all very pre-programmed, and you're just setting it up based on what's happening in the moment.
I bet it's fun, like party Sunday night, Monday, 8 a.m.
Oh God! Whenever I got out of radio, I was so excited to get drunk and watch a Chiefs game.
Nice.
It was like the number one thing. I was like, I'm getting fucking smashed.
So bringing that up, when did you get out?
So I've been out of radio for 2 years now.
Okay.
And
So 2022 you bailed out.
yeah, well, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I got into radio.
Bailed, I think, is the
and,
wrong term.
Got out of it.
I mean, it was a good time to get out of that particular industry, I think, because it is trending in a direction that's a little, I guess, tumultuous at best when it comes to, having some job stability.
Absolutely. I was going to say, you said the perfect drive is it is 20 minutes roughly, but I read a stat today. The average adult attention span is about 8.25 seconds.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, everything is tailored around timing and tempo and pacing, and you want to plan things that are in 5-minute intervals, and you're always having to be conscious of listening habits and what people are doing, and so some of that kind of takes away from some of the having fun aspect of it, I guess. But it was one of those things that, like, whenever I decided to get out, I'll be honest, it all came down to money. Like, the way that the commercial radio industry works, it's just not set up to pay the people that are doing the behind the scenes stuff, the people that are doing the production level. If you are someone who can monetize yourself and your person, you can have some real staying power. But if you're someone who's surviving off of just the salary that the radio conglomerates are willing to trickle down your way.
Take your pittance.
That's right.
Enjoy your pittance.
There's and I'll be honest too. The real sad part about it is it's exploitative, because the people that are in it are really in there because they love it. Like, they really legitimately love their jobs, and a lot of people stick with it.
You're fanboying
because of the fact that they're like, hey man, it's just really fun to do my job, and showing up and being creative and having this. I don't know, my headphones just cut out. But either way, having this ability to connect on that level is interesting.
Yeah.
It's raw. It's a glitch. Keep going.
Yeah, but either way, it's for me. That was the thing that I think keeps a lot of people in radio, is the fact that they love it. They love connecting with people. They love what the job offers. They love the creative outlet that it offers, and
the product it delivers is interesting too. I mean, you're entertaining. You are entertaining people. It's a certain type of demographic, just like anything. But I mean,
sure.
So there are some people that I know people that work that do what you're talking about, who have drive time on 610 drive time on literally from the minute they get in there till it's over, and then they turn on CDOT at 2 and they listen to that, and that's where they get a lot of their information.
Well, I think another thing that people don't realize is that they hear you for 2 to 4 hours on the radio. It's still an 8 to 10 hour job.
Oh, it is.
You are doing things behind the scenes. You're setting up play times, this, that, and the other. You have other roles within, other than just I show up and I say a few words for 4 hours and then I'm out.
I hate to say the schedule's brutal too, because it is something that you would technically I would be watching that game anyway. Whether or not I had to be working, I was going to be watching this fucking thing. But just the way that you have to watch it and the way that you're consuming it, and it's a constantly having to be on thing. And I think the buzz of work-life balance is a big there is zero work-life balance, and it feels like you're just constantly working and you're constantly trying to ingest the newest information, and you got to be a step ahead of everybody. You want to feel like you're more in the know than your listeners, and you can't be slipping on it.
That's how you build the trust, right?
And God, you take a vacation, you come back, and you're like, what the hell happened in the world, man?
So I have a question, if you don't mind.
No, I'm
run me through Super Bowl week when you're there.
So a lot of Super Bowl Radio Row goes
or even
into,
playoff football. So give me the chaos week of your normal.
I mean, are we talking
hell week
are
of
we
your
talking
job?
Being? I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of hell weeks, to be honest with you. The busiest weeks, though, when you're doing a lot of, at least from my standpoint, doing a lot of production work, is those busy playoff weeks, because you're cutting intros. People are listening. You want to have rejoiners that sound exciting and they're hyping them up, and you want to have all of those those things. And so a lot of that just takes time. It's not necessarily difficult. It just takes time to edit all those things together.
Well, I guess what was the schedule madness that you referenced earlier?
For me, I mean, the last job that I had in radio was working in the mornings, and so I worked on the morning show, and my mornings would start essentially around 3:30, and I would get up and I would get myself ready, and then I would take that 30-minute trek out to Overland Park, or I guess Shawnee, and it was like you get there and you're still kind of coming to life at that point, and I get there around 5 o'clock and start setting stuff up for the show, but all of it was planned from the night before, and so we'd do the show and everything would be kind of already set and in place, and then after you did the show, that's when the real work starts. Like the 4 hours that you get to do the show, that's the fun stuff. Like that's the payoff, right?
You're talking, man.
That's payday. That's your payday.
And hopefully you've planned and prepared and you have everything set up to where where you're going. You've got a roadmap. We put together the rundown and we know what's going to happen. But then after the show gets done, that's when you sit down, we talk about the next day, you start getting ready for what's going to happen. I mean, it's literally,
damn it,
we're going to take a 10-minute break and then we're going next day. You go home.
It's supposed to be fun, not work.
That's the orange glove. The guy on the glove, the orange gloves on the field, just like that's go.
Yeah, and you go home, you catch a nap real quick, and then I'd wake up. I had kids, I have kids, and so I'd wake up and take care of them. We'd do the dinner and the family thing at night, and then whatever game was on, and then start processing through audio and cutting sound.
And then you had to be back up at 3 a.m.
And you're planning all of that until 11 o'clock or so at night, and then you clock out for the day, wake up, and you're back up at 3:30.
So it's a real easy thing. You get to leave work at the office.
It's just like I had such a broken schedule, and after I left radio, every day at 1 o'clock, it's fucking nap time. It's time for me, and I don't know. It took me about 6 months for my body to readjust to being a normal 9 to 5 guy again.
How are you adapting to that schedule change?
It's weird because when I was in radio, I was so used to my phone just blowing up constantly and constantly having this pace of life that was just coming at you. Yeah. And when I left, it was full stop. I mean, and the job that I shifted into is very outside of the realm. I don't think there's a lot of people paying attention to what I'm doing, and it's just so low key that from where I went to from where I started to where I went. Mm-hmm. Just was a huge change of pace. Yep. And for me personally, I was like, man, what the fuck am I going to do with all this spare time now? And it was...
Jesus, I need to find some hobbies, guys.
It really did. I started taking stock of my life at that point.
Oh, shit.
So you mentioned the best interview was Alex Gordon. Can you say who your worst interview was?
God, I'm forgetting his name right off the top of my head. It was that... Tyron Woodley, was that his name? The UFC fighter?
Okay,
Tyron Woodley.
He lost, man.
Went to Mizzou.
He is, yeah.
And we had him on. He was just god awful, and we started talking about the border war because it was Mizzou and KU playing, and he mistook it and thought it was the Mizzou and Illinois rivalry, and he started talking about that. And it was just he couldn't be less interested to be there, and it was just so.
So it's just pulling
clear.
Teeth to try to get
firing off
response.
I think God, this is gonna sound really insensitive, but there are other interviews that you have to do that are just Super Bowl is a good example, right? And Dave Craig did an interview, and he was there with some Special Olympians, and it was just difficult to feel the situation out, and Dave Craig kept trying to bring people in, and it was just an awkward moment that you're just I don't really know how the hell this happened, but
Dave Craig,
you're just trying to feel it out.
Legend for all the wrong reasons.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of moments on here where you're editing and looking through stuff, and it's just shit, how did it get that fucking off? What the fuck just happened?
So one time we had
sometimes
remote.
Life takes you from sports radio to write about trucks.
Never know.
Yeah.
We had a remote, and it was out at a golf tournament, and we're doing this tournament, and it was to benefit veterans, and so they decided to bring some veterans on the air to talk, and these guys were World War II veterans, and so they're incredibly old, and they had
no filters,
zero
no
fucking
fucks given.
chill. And so we're talking to him, and the guys are asking him questions. And at one point, like, he's recalling the story about, you know, like his time in combat, and he's like, "Yeah, and you couldn't walk anywhere without stepping on a dead Jap." And we're like, "Oh my god!" And then you're like, "What do you do with this?" Because you're like, I mean, he's a war veteran.
World War II veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, pretty much. Anybody hear what he just said? I didn't quite catch that.
It's
I
when
didn't
you
hear what he
just
said
like look
before.
at someone else like, what are we gonna use? What bits
there's
it's like when you edit Lil Wayne in like 2008. Like you're just like, oh, you got the edited one.
There's truth in that, man. Like you can. I don't know if you ever talked to, like, if you have relatives who are old relatives, like people that are in their 80s or 90s. If you have any rapport with them and you ask them questions, they will answer. They will answer quite thoroughly, and
Didn't
you will
realize you were going to get such a candid response.
You will be like, "Holy shit, man! Are you serious?" It's like, "Great grandma, what?" But they
I mean,
just,
he painted quite the picture.
I think it's a product of age, man. They just like, I don't care. I'm going to say exactly what's on my mind at any given time.
Especially the ones that were
Going to let it rip.
in the shit. Like,
Absolutely,
literally.
dude.
I had this one.
Somebody stormed the beach at Normandy. I'm going to let them talk.
All right, so
he's right. There were a lot.
Close.
They were everywhere. You couldn't step anywhere.
So Iwo Jima.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same. Yeah. Same,
He was on the boat, and he said he used the skull of his enemies to hold a baby jar full of the tobacco for all of them did, supposedly. And, they put a baby jar, put his tobacco in there for his pipe, and made a hole right in the top and just sat it on the desk.
I wouldn't think that would keep it very fresh. It doesn't seem like a very sealed container.
I mean, the baby jar.
Well, it's humid there, too, so maybe it would last longer because it's humid.
Is organic.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, you seal it up in that
Tobacco
baby
dries
jar,
really
set
quick,
it right
man.
in there, and I was like, well...
Is it vegan friendly if it's...
It's possibly. Well, depends.
Yeah.
Like, ethically is where you run into, I think, the friendly
I
part.
mean, but is anything...
Ethics.
if it's a dead vegan, it's definitely
Ethics
not
are
friendly.
a bitch, man.
So look, I know this is off topic. Let me ask you this: is anything vegetable vegan? I mean, think of the nutrients, everything that goes into it to compost, all that.
I think since everything has Roundup in it, most likely that nothing we use vegan or vegetarian or anything, because you're just
segment's brought to you by
chemical.
have some chemical that I know the name of, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, if you guys want to sponsor us, Roundup.
Hey, I want
Too late to get it.
I want to. Can we? I want to move to
Monsanto.
not that.
Do what now?
Let's. I want to move to some sporty sports.
So here's
we got this. Local.
Oh, I
dude
know.
who's
We're going
got
to
good
it. We're going to
opinions.
it.
Good opinions.
So
Gracias.
we did an episode with you prior about the perfect crime.
Mm-hmm.
And let's jump into Chiefs-aholic, if we can, just real quick.
I think
Did you ever interview him?
No, I never spoke with, like, I did meet him one time
Such a wild story.
So the people that don't know,
thing.
Chiefs-aholic is a super fan who shows up to all the Chiefs games and a lot of the
term,
away
super fan.
games, has a wolf outfit on, which the Chiefs mascot is a wolf known as the wolf pack.
Not to be confused with Weird Wolf, who's a different Chiefs fan.
Yeah, good
No.
guy.
Who does wear a wolf costume too? Still good guy.
Decibel
though.
up,
But
I believe
but
it
known
is.
as the Wolf Pack. The fans are known as the Wolf Pack.
Want to
That's-
make sure
that's
we
where-
understood those are not the same person.
That's where the wolf came out. So the
I'm
Chiefs
not ruling out that he's robbed banks. He might have.
may or may not have.
Okay.
We don't have that information, but we do have information about Chiefs-aholic.
Chiefs-aholic.
Showed up to every game. It looked like a rather expensive costume for the most part. I mean,
Was it?
He did have good seats. He did have good
It's cheap
seats.
if you know how to sew.
That's true.
And he traveled to games. So if you're traveling to away games,
But put it this way: he
there's money
robbed
there.
11 banks in 7 states. So did he just rob the banks? He got caught because he robbed a bank on the way to one game, correct?
yeah, I believe so. Oklahoma, I think, is where he
I mean,
finally
some of
got
the things
caught.
that came out afterwards too were incredible. Like him requesting leave time to go for like out of prison to go to like a family event that was in Arizona. Coincidentally, the same day that
Super
the fucking
Bowl.
Chiefs are playing in Arizona in the Super Bowl. Like, how thinly veiled can you be, sir?
I mean,
Well,
let's
he
be
had-
honest. To attend a Chiefs game
Yeah.
right now for a family of 4 runs about $900.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
grand.
not
It's going
a-
to be
it's
a
not a-
grand.
you may
dude.
as well
So I mean, you got to
Fucking
rob a bank
Disneyland.
to get there, anyways.
It's like 2 days in Disneyland, dude.
Or just, put it on the card.
Put it on the card, pay it off throughout the year.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
you got to
that.
buy them all ahead of time. It's cheaper that way. It's like
true.
Costco.
It is.
It's true.
Yeah.
Volume discount.
Yes.
Way to go.
We got him before them Super Bowls. I'll say it that way. The prices were favorable.
I think it's weird though, but it is interesting because I think it just goes to show like how rabid some of these super fans really are. Because like if he was legitimately doing that only to support, I guess, gambling habit number one, which seemed to be pretty up there,
Yeah.
and also his habit of just going to the Chiefs, like being addicted to watching football and being in that atmosphere and being around people. Like I think he loved the attention of being
the
that
notoriety,
guy in
man, the character.
in the wolf costume.
Oh,
But,
I'm
like,
sure
His
that
name was Chiefsaholic.
like it just
Yep.
goes to show
Fits.
you though
Fits.
some of the rabid nature of some of these folks, because like I'm a sports fan, but I am not like paint my face and go to the game or like dress up guy. And I don't want to knock those people because like they definitely have their like sports fan hierarchy and they're near the top, right? They're up there with like
Oh, they're
breaking
right up
down
there. Like,
film
what's
analysis
his
guy.
name? Mattress Mike? Or?
Mattress Mac, yeah.
Mattress Mac throws like 2-3 million every World Series, every Super Bowl.
He's what, an Astros
Well,
guy,
it's,
right?
Astros.
Houston,
He
yeah.
sits
like
right behind the home plate
This
every
weird
Astros
level
game.
of how much the sports team you're cheering for is essentially like an integrated part of your identity. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a hobby or an interest or something you go rah rah about. It's like. It's always joke is you're a sports fan, you tend to use the term we. When you talk about your team, like we did really kicked ass last night. It's like again, I like that you say that, but you didn't do anything.
Sure.
You watched the team play, and it was awesome. I'm watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Like thoughts.
Prayers.
I was thinking
Sorry, dude.
when I was watching.
I had to say, yeah.
So speaking of we damn boys.
When I was watching
I
Clark
just had
Hunt
to.
and the trophy presentation,
Oh, yeah.
he said, this one's for you. We couldn't have done it without the fans. And I'm like, I don't know how much I had to do with it.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes had more to do with it than me.
I mean, the year.
But
with
you
the
got
COVID
suckered
year-
into paying one way or another, whether it be a jersey, a ticket, something.
I thought that was all that Daddy's oil money that was paying for the Chiefs.
See,
The money we give him is just fun.
the tax money
anymore, not much, but still, yeah. I mean,
I struggle.
there's other
I struggle
irons in the
paying that.
fire.
We're just giving him his Christmas fund. That's all.
The only thing that like kind of sucks, and this is like me.
They got to
Logo.
renovate their house that's inside Arrowhead.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, on that perfect segue. Thank you.
Oh, perfect.
Why do we have an F? Why do we have an F on like all the stats that were like rated by
Like
the
the
players
stadium amenities and
yeah.
things like that. It's not super nice. It is old. It's an older stadium. And
I'm not
I'm sure
trying
like
to
if
sit
any
here
one
and
of us
bash
went to
him,
the
but, like-
cafeteria, we'd be like, this is
really
fucking
fucking
you got a
nice.
fucking omelet bar, get out of here. Like we'd be all about it. But I'm sure there's a level of
I think and not because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I think the Cowboys really started it with that super stadium where you got the full amenities. You're having full gourmet pizzas delivered to your seat.
You see it everywhere. You see it at every level of sports. I mean, it's like it's a race in Division I football to have the biggest, baddest ass weight room, locker room.
Oh, yeah.
TVs over your individual TV and game systems over your locker.
Speaking of that,
I mean,
have you seen Deion Sanders' new rule?
Is it about his son?
Yes.
They can't play the fight.
They cannot
song.
play the fight song
They play
anytime
his-
he throws a touchdown
They play
pass.
his single.
They have
over
to play his rap song.
his single.
Yeah, his
That's,
single is now played.
Hey man, NIL.
He's a
money,
promoter. I mean, he's a promoter. It's
good life, you can get it.
Money has infected college sports, and I'm not saying that in a good or bad way. It is gone its way in, and you say
I mean, it's just above the table now.
I mean,
it's always been.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
oh
Like,
yeah.
Now
yeah.
they're just doing.
Now it's
business
just
in the
not
public.
against the rules anymore. We're
So
doing it
Daddy
before.
doesn't get a
The internet
Ferrari. You
exposed
get the
it.
We're
Ferrari.
doing it.
The internet exposed it.
I mean, you're literally pulling up to practices, and there's 20 Lamborghinis lined up now.
I think maybe the internet exposed the like
Public eye.
full scope of every. Well, there's seriously there are teams, fans of teams that have historically been really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's a Division I school, do you really think that even their football team is clean? And I don't mean that like you're getting a job at a dealership, and you get a truck out of it or something. I'm not saying that.
Well, let me answer that
Well, hold
by
on, hold
asking
on.
you this.
The reason I'll say this is because even where I went to school, I'm not going to say that it's the smallest Division II school. the concept of the $100 handshake was quite common. It wasn't particularly under the table. Like if you knew any athletes that were on the teams, like my fraternity had people that were on these teams, and it's like,
well, I mean, this goes back like 60
crazy
years.
shit, dude. I mean, little but still money, right?
I can't remember his first name. It's been a while, but Brian Cook from Illinois.
Not ringing any bells.
Either way, he went to Lincoln High School. His dad was a great basketball player. His grandpa, they're from the Chicago area. The grandpa and his father. The reason they got down to the Lincoln area, which is a small town of like a couple thousand.
Okay.
They hired him as the janitor. He just so happened to have this 6'8" amazing basketball playing son.
I've heard this story told a few times.
I mean, it's told all over the place. I mean, yeah. So there's, from the beginning of sports, there's been a way to grease a palm somewhere, and to get who you want where you want. You know, from that small to, just so happens, like I said earlier, Daddy's driving a Ferrari all of a sudden, and then you commit to Alabama.
Yeah.
It's and now
get that bag.
Now
they're not related.
No.
That's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
You want prayers.
I mean, makes $15,000 a year, but affords
that was almost a
$300,000 car. So, it just brings it, and I understand the argument. I really do. The argument was these colleges are making millions off of these kids.
Yeah.
Who could blow out their knee today and be done.
Yep.
They are riding their backs to a paycheck. Literally.
I think most of those scholarship students, if they got injured, probably can ride out their scholarship. So they're not
a lot of it. Yes.
It's not like they're not getting nothing.
So here's my thing too.
A lot of those scholarships aren't rewarded on like a full term basis, so they don't.
That's
give
true.
you
True. Some of them aren't.
Baseball scholarships are like semester at a time.
Really?
So
Interesting.
Eye opening.
That's good info.
This would have been 03. Adrian Peterson at OU. Blake Bell, Belldozer. He was
University
playing.
of Oklahoma.
First time I was at OU.
AP, man.
I had no idea that OU Stadium was bigger than Arrowhead's.
Most college stadiums are.
I didn't know that.
I think Notre Dame holds like 100,000.
I was that many days old that
you need to go see some SEC football, brother.
Today I learned.
Yeah, Michigan.
I've seen more since.
Notre Dame.
This was big years.
Well, those lock the parking lots, man. They'll make. I mean, Arrowhead's a daunting like setup, and some of those are.
Well,
it's a different type
let's have
of
a
fan
whole
base, though,
town
because
that's basically that.
Not only are you
OU doesn't
rooting
have
for
it,
that,
so it's just a downtown.
not only are you rooting for that football team or whatever team, like you're also rooting for it because it's your alma mater, and you like
yeah.
Like
Hometown,
the fan bases and not everybody obviously that roots for college football or college basketball went to that school, but like the vast majority, like when you go to tailgates and things like that, it's rabid because of that.
I love the shit, man.
I mean, just think about the money that they're bringing in for ticket sales, everything. Then the donations from the alma maters
boosters,
and
man.
boosters.
You gotta get that NIL money, man.
You're getting all of that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
good.
I think too, like for a lot of these athletes, like they're not going to, what is that old NCAA? They're going to go pro in something other than sports.
Yeah.
This is a chance for them to make some serious coin off of who they are, and the school's already making that money off of them, right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to the Ed O'Bannon case, and it goes
that's
back
plus
to
money. That's not like net. That's net zero money.
Johnny Manziel likely made more money in playing college football than he did play.
Definitely.
Shaquille O'Neal probably made more money playing in college. There's all of these athletes that obviously Johnny Manziel's a great example of, because he didn't have a ton of success at the next level.
Are you including the money that Shaquille made from the movie Blue Chip? Are you adding that?
True.
That may be before you were born.
DJ Diesel.
I gotta give. So
that's a wildly unbelievable sports movie.
So speaking of that, though,
God, what happened to Nick Nolte?
Right? Shaquille is one of the. I don't know if he did it on his own or if he had a lot of smart people in his corner. He has made something of himself other than sports, and I mean, the sports
He's
helped
got
him.
an empire.
I mean,
He's
is-
got like a
he's built-
7-foot-tall empire.
He is definitely an icon. Like you can,
Like, people
he's an
don't-
icon in our
Figuratively
pop
and
culture.
literally.
Like, you can't go to a mall and
large
not
man.
pass 20 stores that he owns.
No.
He owns Papa John's, with so many franchises of those. But I mean, he was smart with his money. Most of these players you hear, they get out and they don't know how to manage their money. And I mean, granted, he had a very long career. He had a very successful career. But the money they were making back then is nothing like what they make now.
Seems like a strangely like predatory pool to step into if you've never had any life experience in managing your own affairs.
Oh, that's I mean, it happens time and time again.
That's a real abstract. I mean,
Sure.
Do you know how to reconcile a checking account or balance a checkbook?
Ask Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
He said literally, I have one pair of shoes from my rookie contract. That's all I have left.
Yeah.
I blew every cent.
He
I have some Nike Air Mags.
He did have some pretty pointed comments about how not mature he was his first few years in the league. Ran through money like crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, he's definitely made some stuff. But
Hey, can I ask a real quick?
yeah.
What's Kelce like as an interview?
I mean, what you see on screens, what you get. He's
Yeah.
again, like a lot of these guys are professional and know their role in terms of what they're presenting to you because they know they're on. They know they're being recorded.
Do they get trained? Do they have like an actual media person
yeah,
that tells
yeah.
them you can't say this?
Yeah. Although they get marching orders, they get the talking points.
Especially as social media has grown to what it is, it's gotten way tighter onto.
I'll tell you if any player
I bet
goes,
the best media coach was Pfizer. Just
if any player goes
So-
outside of the circle of the cliche.
So I did
it's
hear
like-
something about that, which is actually genius on his part. You had to have the shot to play in sports, no matter what.
that's a free 20 mil, was it?
Yeah, they basically came to him and said, "Hey, you got it. We'll give you $20 million for 2 days of your time." And he's like, "It's in me. Let's do it."
I would do a lot of things for 20 million in 2 days.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of us would.
Please don't go any.
Why-
Please
why
don't
are
go
you
any
laughing?
deeper.
I don't
Please.
know.
Why are you laughing?
All I can say
if it has
is-
to do with getting punched in the dick, I'm not interested.
Listen, Brian.
Oh, that's
20 million
That's
can buy a lot of mouthwash and a lot of therapy.
We can.
Finkel's Einhorn.
It's true.
Einhorn is Finkel.
That's all I gotta say.
It can definitely. Yeah.
So, speaking of social media and everything,
You got him speechless. I never thought I'd see it. He's got the cards. He's still speechless.
right?
I win.
I need the mouthwash. I need the mouthwash.
Oh, it's
And
been
therapy.
fun.
Lots of therapy.
Yeah. Well,
So I mean, with
it's
the
relative.
with the rise of women's sports and everything, do you think that the fans have played into this kind of this unrealistic expectation? They're pushing this narrative that they need paid more, they need this, they need that. What's your take on all that?
I mean, I think when you talk about like what people are getting paid in sports, the bottom line is that it's what people are willing to pay, right?
Correct.
Like if you have a salary cap, if teams are spending to that cap, then that's one thing. But if you're going to say that we as this league deserve to get paid commensurate with people who play in this league, I don't know if you can sit there and have those apples to apples comparisons.
But it's happening.
And I don't necessarily think it's right. Like, I'm not going to sit here and side with that. I do think that, you should be getting paid commensurate with what your business is making. If your league is making that kind of money, then you need to be paid a percentage.
What if your
that's-
league makes a negative $10 million a year?
Well, then you probably are going to not be making that much.
Yeah.
And the owners aren't going to be paying that because it's just not making money. And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
It's a top-down thing, right? If you don't have a chunk of capital, whether it's sponsors, owners, war chest essentially, and a really, 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 you have to be honest, a huge fan base.
Yeah.
You have to be able to sell out venues, and I mean, you may have some insight into this. If you're an NFL owner, I mean, I'm curious if for instance, the thing I think of is like the mid to late '80s Chiefs. Those games were blacked out because of literally lack of ticket sales. There's so many runs sold. How long does it take? I'm generally curious how long it takes before that starts to really hurt. Because there are teams where that doesn't hurt. You've got a billionaire who could just funds everything and it's fine. But
well, not only that, you've got the market. Talking Yankees, Dodgers, Lakers.
Well, I mean, my point is that the Chiefs they were a major league organization. This is a professional sports league where all the teams are worth a ton of money. But if you're only selling 20 to 30 to 40% of your tickets, which I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but when you're in things like the WNBA and in these women's leagues that are losing money, I don't see the is it fair or not is a totally valid concern, but the money has to be there that's going to trickle down through the ranks to make it, or it's just not financially viable.
Well,
nobody's going to do that.
The teams are only going to be as successful as the league itself is, right?
Yeah, true.
And one of the big reasons that the NFL is successful is because the NFL owns the rights to all of their games, and there's none of this bullshit where the teams get to sell off. The teams get to own the preseason rights, and they can sell that, and they can sell radio rights and things like that. But outside of that, the NFL owns their regular season and their postseason games, and they do with it what they see fit, and they build that for all the teams.
Yeah.
So all of these teams have this very much built-in. It's like
which is different for baseball, which they really rely on those TV contracts.
It's
which are club by club, right? Club to club.
Yeah.
And so you look at the way that some of these other leagues are in their infancies, when we're talking about WNBA salaries, what's happening now is exactly what you need to see that, if you want to call it a wrong, corrected. If you want to see that, deficiency in salaries corrected, you need to build the fan bases. You need to have the league be successful, and it has to have a following, because once it makes those dollars, that's when all the
Here's a stat for you, though, since you brought that up. The WNBA is up 198% in profit. They average $10 million a year in loss. This year, they're projected to lose $50 million.
What a world!
Maybe
numbers
that's
aren't my strong suit.
Well, no, maybe that's the idea.
You make double the money, but
I was
lose.
told the'd be no math.
Well, no, but the point that's making is that they've increased viewership. They've absolutely increased engagement. But at what point
Caitlin Clark.
At what point is the cost of that increase of whatever it is marketing? How long is that? Well, does it last? Right?
That's what does it last? Because is the product any better than what it's been throughout the years? I think this hype between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has really pumped the numbers. I mean, there's no doubt.
People want those stories, man. People want compelling characters. The
NBA's been that way. It's a star-driven league. That's how they sell it, and that's how they make money. And so, why wouldn't the WNBA try to follow suit? And they're doing a great job, and they have good women in the league right now to be able to do that with.
Question: could you directly correlate a player's performance to endorsements then immediately?
I mean, probably not. Most times, when players sign those big endorsement deals, usually they drop the Madden curse.
Well, I mean, it's maybe a prolonged thing.
I'm saying is, if you look at Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or one of these guys, they've got a list of brands that they're on that rep list, right?
Sure. Everybody wants to be affiliated with a winner,
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Caitlin
Clark,
are
winners, man.
She's popping off. WNBA, Caitlin Clark doesn't care about the WNBA's paycheck, not paycheck, because she's got the endorsement deals.
Yeah, she still cares. I think she wants.
I think she cares. Not arguing that.
It'd be neat if she saw the importance of her role in the league for exposure. Because she is electric to watch. She's fun to watch.
Well, it's always a big ask to have somebody think about the betterment of everyone else around them.
It isn't like half-court three-pointers, man.
Yeah, right. If she ultimately wants the is it, the rising tide raises all ships kind of mentality. I think if that's going to be the case, and the salaries are going to escalate because of it, but I hope she has that.
But the WNBA has already sold out their salaries for 14 flights for the next 2 years. That's what they got out of this. They got 14 flights.
Apparently, somebody saw value in it.
Those must be nice flights.
I don't know why. Again, you said no math.
All chartered. They
said there was not going to be
$25 million a year, chartered flights. That's what the cost was
For 14 flights?
Hey, you got to spend.
Per team.
You got to spend money to make money, baby.
I mean, I don't own a plane, so I guess.
But if you paid me,
right, sure.
I think the difference was almost $200,000 a player. I could get first class. I could hire my own security and still come out $150K ahead.
Yep.
I mean, I'm no economist, so I don't sit here and claim to know how to run a sports team from a financial standpoint.
This math thing is.
But I think from a standpoint of are people at least embracing the sport? Are they embracing the league? I think the answer for that is yes, it is growing, and it's going in that direction.
Sure. KC Current.
And I think, I was about to mention, like, I think here in Kansas City, people are excited about, what direction that can be heading and what that can be doing for women's sports, not just here locally, but also nationally and, even globally.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing that's happening, and and to speak on it, it's being fronted by Patrick Mahomes and his wife, and it's just one more thing that they're involved in, and growing the city with sports and everything.
You said it before, roots, man, planting roots in the town that's done right by you, drafted you, and we're very happy to have them. So,
but I think, like, overall though, my take on it would be that if you're making the same percentage that the NBA players are making versus the amount of the league's money that's getting brought in, the income versus the league versus what percentage is going to the players, if that's the same, I'm all here for it. But if the numbers aren't jiving, then I'll hear that conversation.
Our budget for the year is $50 million. You're all asking for $80 million max contracts.
Basically, what you just said is the exact situation of the Women's Cup versus the Men's Cup. Soccer, the women were actually making more percentage than what was being brought in, but they still demanded more and said they weren't being fairly paid, and now the men are supplementing even more of their income.
I mean, they were by and large the more popular team, but I guess
that's a long time.
That's a really difficult thing to quantify enough.
People like winners.
U.S. women's soccer. That was if you were going to play. I mean, if you were going to be a huge fan of the women's or men's soccer in the United States, and last long, dude,
which makes sense.
The women had
by name.
The women had a lot more compelling. I mean, really, like it's a hero thing. Like who are compelling stars. That's it.
I get that, but at the same time, if you're bringing in $10 million as a men's team and the women's team is bringing in $1 million,
it's really hard to measure as a national team because it's really not there. I would have to understand how the business works because you're not talking about professional soccer league teams playing each other. You're talking about going out and playing friendlies with national teams or playing tournaments. So the idea of revenue, as a classic model, like for home versus away games, is totally different than what we're talking about.
That's different. But you're talking about the men's. I think they brought in I want to say it was $6 billion or something like that, and the women's were bringing in like 1 or 2.
Hey, remember we talked about this before? It's still a volume game, and when.
But how do you pay more when the money's not there?
National team picks it up. I mean, the organization that governs that says that. I mean, God dang it, they're making more.
Okay,
they may not be selling as many tickets, but they're dominating the league.
Brian, you make more money than me,
and they won a World Cup.
Brian, you make more money than me. Let's just say you make $20,000 more than me.
Okay.
So to make that even, you need to start paying me $10,000 a year.
Yeah,
that's fair, right?
What sport y'all playing?
It depends.
We're just life. We're playing the sport of life.
That depends.
Is that fair?
That's the worst.
That I get to take your income for what you worked for and you've studied for.
I am a Cracker Jack Tiddlywinks player, and I will be paid my salary.
Exactly.
God damn it. Here's the bottom line. This is a very broad.
Can't I take your income?
It's an abstract hood. We could apply this to all kinds of places where income equality somehow applies. You either try to rectify the situation or you don't. And there's reasons why you do, and there's reasons why you don't. And every darn situation has got a billion is. Sorry, loose, informal. There's several criteria that I have no idea what they're working towards. So, hey.
Showing a loss for taxes seems pretty effective.
Well, that was before I was getting to unethical options where you can we can move money,
it's a write-off,
move money
for
over
sure.
there, and the national team will save some tax. I don't know how that works.
It's a write-off.
I'm going to plead ignorance, but the point is at the time in the world cornucopia, so to speak, the U.S. women's team was cream of the crop. They were the best. They had all kinds of players that everybody knew their names. And quite frankly, man, the blow up of soccer that's happened.
So if you're the best tiddlywink player, does that mean you get to take LeBron James's salary?
Depends. It's all situational.
Are you better at tiddlywinks than LeBron is?
I don't know how good he is. I've never seen him play. Have you seen him play?
Hands.
He does. That could be good or bad.
Truthfully, we've also got.
I don't even know what.
Could be good or bad.
I don't know what tiddlywinks is. So.
It's like where you push the things down and pop into a
Jax.
cup, right?
Have you ever played Jax?
Yeah.
How about Jax? Is he a good Jax player?
Oh,
He's got
with the
big hands. You
I
could
would
like.
definitely-
I feel like he's
you can
snatching-
take everything up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting
It's like that's a one.
Although I don't know, picking up small items with with big hands.
I think marbles not so good. I think the sensitivity to. I think it's not so good.
I bet they're good at darts, though.
Hey
Leaning
man,
over
hey,
them.
to get back to what you're talking about, like it's a question of where I think of it in.
Is it ethically okay to take from somebody else?
Let's think of it like this: the U.S. national team, whether men's or women's, okay, they are. It's a corporation. It's a company, and that company decides where to allocate resources. Okay.
Yeah.
In any company that operates anywhere in the world all the time, you shift resources to other business units all the time to either prop them up or to create stability in something that may not. Dude, Sprint. We live in Kansas City. Okay, Sprint is not a. Sprint was 3 companies at one time. It was local, long distance, and PCS. Okay, those were 3 separately operating companies. When they got joined, PCS was it didn't make money, and the other companies were like long distance and local. Those are prepaid every month. Bam, done. They made money. They were the cash cow while that thing did that. Was it right that PCS employees business was losing money, yet they were bonusing out at 20 to 40%, and I was a local telephone or local division, and I was literally losing. I was getting nothing on bonuses, even though my business unit was making a shit ton of money. Sometimes it happens. And we get emotional with this whole thing between men's and women's sports, and it's really not, because in the grand scheme of things, it's business.
They both prop each other up.
Money
At the
is
same
money,
time, it's
right?
bad business. Everybody
just
knows it's
that.
bad business.
I hate that it's that, but it is.
To use one fund.
I'm sorry for the weird corporate weird
Yeah,
corporate.
you really
Sports
dove
are
down a
corporate.
rabbit hole.
I
there.
tried to bring it back pretty quick though.
But I would say bad business 101 is using one corporation to subsidize another.
It depends on what your business goals are for the long term.
Well,
Because
I think-
if the cash cow can subsidize
say-
a money loser until the money loser starts to make money,
Well,
then it's genius.
I think it's also because it scratches at an ill that we know is
Oh,
alive and well in society, and that's pay discrimination and
Sure.
a pay discrepancy. And so it's not news that occurs, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just I think it starts to bring up a lot of those things where people try to be economists when quite honestly I have no effing clue how this all works out and what the pay should be. I just know that if you're in this business and your business makes X amount of dollars,
Yeah.
you should get a certain percentage of those dollars raised from your business.
Yeah.
And as long as those numbers jive, then I'm good with it. But if not, we definitely need to have that conversation.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
again, I think it's because it's hitting that bigger ill that we all know exists, where people can get paid wildly different for doing the exact same job.
Sure. It's
Yep.
emotional. It's an emotional
But
trigger point, and I understand. I'm not
at the
trying to
same
be.
time,
I'm not trying to be
the
insensitive.
facts
to it.
care about your feelings. I mean, it's
Not particular.
Okay,
Not
so
in the most times, no.
if the goal of soccer as a concept is $7 billion, and that's U.S. soccer, made up number, I don't know.
completely made up.
But let's say it's $7 billion.
We don't support soccer, unfortunately.
I love soccer.
Now we've got the women's team, who was more watched.
My son's a great soccer player.
Still arguably very enjoyable because they're still very good and still dominating.
I mean, they lost
Not
to
dominating,
15
but,
and under.
Oh, come on. Again, that's
Thanks for finding the one.
it's boring. These
that's
guys
not
and
the
your
one,
fucking
whatever.
outliers.
I
it's
just
the border
ultimately think
cases.
that the
everywhere.
answer still lies in piguring out how to clear the hurdle of why aren't you watching,
Right.
or why are you
Yeah.
paying attention?
And
Like,
Well, I
truthfully,
mean, yeah, I think
if
you're
the
right.
athletes are saying on the women's soccer side, if they're saying, "Hey, we bring more views, $7 billion, we're only at $1 billion, they're $6 billion, and we lose money, whatever, fuck them."
But here's the thing.
Hang on, the women they're bringing more views, which is the data, the media rights, and all that stuff. That's just how you've organized the business.
I would like to
soccer.
see those numbers because
You're never gonna.
if I'm going,
you think he's gonna look this shit up when he
Well,
goes
I
home?
know. Because I want to see the numbers, and I don't know the numbers because here's my argument: if you have the women who are getting 20 billion views and the men's who's getting 5 billion,
Okay.
my money's going to the 20 billion views. Why isn't the money in advertising going to them for the extra 15 billion views? I know that's an inflated number.
But we can all agree they're on the rise.
I think
so
they're on the rise.
I think you already answered the question by bringing up the fact that they were still going to lose money, like WNBA was still going to lose money, or no? What was it that you said? What were their expenses were way higher?
Yeah.
Essentially, they spent like $40 million.
They doubled their income, but their expenses were 5 times higher.
Was high, right?
Yep.
That's kind of what makes that situation hard, because again, if the outlay that made that different is like a really
well, you guys keep saying,
well, no, the marketing blitz, like we're gonna really try to find. The long story short, I'll cut the bullshit in the middle, which is that you can't convince me that there aren't compelling personalities that are in that league.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying there's not.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I understand that. I'm trying to make an overarching point that it just kind of answers a question that I'm kind of posing to myself, I suppose. But it's that I don't think the money to ever promote the human interest stories in those leagues have ever been anything close to what they were in the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, where they're trying to find city-specific stars that have stayed there their whole career. Guys like Bobby Witt Jr., guys like Patrick Mahomes, who committed themselves to a place, and they're good people, and they're compelling stories, and they've invested, and sometimes you're the people that you draft to be in that spot, the people you want to be, are not great at it. And that's another angle to it. But my point is, I don't ever think the marketing attention has been on those sports and on those leagues. It really hasn't.
I think a lot of that, though, is because of like who's actually responding to that marketing. Because I know a lot of men are going out there and buying jerseys because they, look up to or idolize, or however you want to put it, like for Patrick Mahomes or Bobby Witt Jr., who, like, I don't know if women are reached that same way, and they go out and start collecting that merchandise. Now, maybe, it's growing, you've seen a lot of the leagues make a pivot to trying to design
that's totally
more
fair, man.
like women's engineered sport, apparel and things like that. But so obviously, and I'm not saying that there aren't women that are responding to that marketing already too. Like there are women that are diehard fans of teams, but I think by and large, like you will be able to find more men that are willing to go out and buy a jersey or a jersey or whatever to support their teams than there are women. And I think that you're going to have to clear some of that hurdle.
So, question for you. Kansas City, real talk.
And by the way, to finish this, sorry, I kind of forgot about this. Like, but if men aren't watching the women's sports, then what's the point of marketing it when men aren't going to buy that and men aren't watching it anyway? Like, are women going to respond to it? If they're not going to respond to it, then maybe that's some of the impetus for not putting those marketing dollars behind some of that.
Totally.
So,
it's hard, man. Hard.
No, I want to see what your take would be on Kansas City. That's where we're at. KC current game, Taylor Swift shows up, hanging out with Patrick and Brittany, throws on a KC teal jersey, and
sells out tomorrow.
No. That
sells out tomorrow.
That's obviously an entirely different.
You want to
thing
boost women's sports? Just send fucking Swift to each of them.
That's great marketing.
You've got
right
enough
there,
people pissed off getting views on something, looking at her because they're so tired of seeing her. She's a cool person, in my opinion. And then you also have all these people who are like, "Oh my God, she's awesome. Let's go support that." I prefer the second one there and support the people.
So since we're on soccer right now,
are there other people that could do that other than Taylor Swift?
No,
definitely, but she doesn't.
Not at that level.
Not at that level.
Truly like
Okay, who do you think could outdo in real talk? So I'm saying Taylor Swift, Kansas City. There's a connection,
right?
Yeah.
Who could outdo Taylor Swift in Kansas City? Connected.
Nobody
at that game.
Nobody.
Okay.
I don't think it's really.
If you have somebody who is metric,
the most famous person in the world,
then if she came out and she came out tomorrow and openly committed to a presidential candidate, they said it would swing the vote 10%.
Yeah. Younger people.
You can't buy that. You cannot buy that.
You can.
I love.
You can't.
I love how you choose your words. You wordsmith you.
He is.
What? I do what I want.
I thought Ken-Zee was the provocateur of the.
I gotta fuck with this guy a little bit.
I'm just saying,
all right,
10%. There's no money that can sway that much of the public opinion.
All right, so let's campaign for women's sports right now. Send Swift to each of these goddamn sports, give her a free jersey, and have her post a picture.
Yeah.
She's just saying Taylor's going to pick a WNBA team, and this shit's on and popping.
Yep.
I mean,
it would
for real. Fever, let's roll.
I mean, if you were Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese right now, and you all of a sudden saw Swift in a jersey, I'd go over to the bench and tweet right there like, "Done, bitch." I got you. Like, there's no argument after that.
So Taylor Swift's the fix-all is what you're telling me.
She certainly has.
I think she has the ability.
Well,
she's got a Midas touch.
She's
to her.
enough of the zeitgeist. I mean, she is right in the middle of all like contemporary culture.
I mean, she certainly ushered in a whole new fan base.
She seems like the person who would do it for women's sports.
Committed fan base. Super fans.
It's true.
And it brings in the
Swifties,
female.
fans.
I don't know where they fall in that fan hierarchy, by the way, because they're not up there with breaking down film guy.
They're not X Factor. I mean,
It also brings in
Casuals, bandwagon.
the female aspect of it because
oh boy,
all of a sudden, I mean, I see it all the time on social media that
oh yeah,
girls are spending time with their fathers wanting to learn football.
That's cool.
Because Taylor Swift is
man.
at a football game.
That's
I
cool.
mean, it is a full. I mean,
Well, that just
it's a
sounds
cultural
awful because
shift.
girls can't play football.
They said she makes homemade cinnamon rolls and passes them out to the offensive players. I think that's pretty
That's
sweet
pretty
of her.
dope.
Fucking cinnamon rolls.
If
are
somebody brings me
tremendous.
fresh cinnamon roll, come on, dude.
Not my choice of breakfast, but that's
I'm just
very
saying
sweet.
the
Cinnamon
sentiment.
roll is not really just relegated to
But
breakfast.
and
No,
like
like,
here in
that's
Missouri,
true.
that's true.
We go cinnamon roll and chili. I
We
don't
can
know
kind
how
of do
you.
cinnamon roll as a side.
Here in Missouri, we also sell the ones that what is it, like
Cinnabon,
fucking
dude.
corner cafe.
Yeah, they're
and
the
like,
size of
Size of
your
your
plate.
face, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole.
So I do
thing.
want to get your
Cinnamon
guys'
roll
opinion on this though, because it
breakfast.
did happen
That's
today.
cinnamon roll.
No, I said cinnamon roll being
kidding.
made.
I'm
Sorry, I
just kidding.
concluded
Top
it to
5
breakfast.
breakfast pastry.
Yeah,
Top 5 for sure.
top three. Top three.
Top
yeah.
5.
Hit me
No,
with it.
top
What do you
three.
got?
It's on
buddy?
the Rushmore of breakfast
do you got, man?
pastries.
So today,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm sorry for butchering this name, Ani Aluko.
Who?
Okay.
Aloko. She is a British ex-soccer player who is a broadcaster now, and I'm going to quote exactly what she said today.
Yeah.
The Lionesses, which is a England-based soccer team.
It's a professional women's soccer team, I believe.
The Lionesses have put the men's team to shame. Our girls should be given a chance in the men's Premier League. They would easily hold their own. The country wants to see women play. They deserve the same pay and the same opportunity.
Then give them a shot to play.
Hold on.
Let's
So
fucking go.
there's a legitimate question here.
Let's fucking go.
Like,
Sell
what's
the tickets.
No, yeah. Well, so what's the criteria? If you're talking about like EPL, English Premier League, they feel like they should be competing in the. That's
So,
fine. No, hold on.
I did find out that
Okay.
like over here, a woman can play in men's sports.
Yeah.
Over there, it's not allowed.
Okay.
For many reasons. But
Hey, man, if they're.
let's see what happens.
It's like. I mean, I think of it like a freaking pool league at a bar. If it doesn't matter if you're playing in a league that's like the top of the fucking heap, like the best dudes, go play. See how you stand up. I'm not. I don't. Hey, if they fucking do well, God damn it, that's
I think
great.
they should do it. But what do you think
Fucking
the
great.
outcome is?
I don't know. I've never seen them play. I never know what league they want to play in. I mean,
I ain't got money on it. Why are we talking about the outcome? Let's just see what happens. Let's fucking go.
I'm not
No, I want it that
immediate.
way.
I'm not like immediately writing
it
them
like
off
this.
as just. I'm not saying, well,
Gotta
they're not going
fix
to be
you
able to do it because the women aren't going to be able to beat
yeah,
the men. I'm not going to write them off from that standpoint at all.
Make a way for him to do it.
And quite honestly, like
I kind of want to see it, to be
we
honest with you. That's
understand.
why I bring it up. But
I mean,
dude.
if history
This-
proves to what it is,
I could devolve
it's
this
not
so
gonna
quickly
end,
to just-
it's not going to end well.
Tell you what.
pissing people off.
I mean, it's been
Bring
the
them both
beginning of
to-
the battle of the sexes.
This
all
is
over
what
again.
we've seen. No, we've seen this is a God. I don't even want to talk about this. It's such a shitty thing to talk about. It's an interesting thing to me, but like disc golf, the professional disc golf has seen this in the last year, and I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't have any. But the thing is, there's a trans woman who's playing professionally as a woman. Okay. He's well within the rules that the professional governing body has set for participation. But there has been a pretty large pushback by a lot of professional women, and they don't like it. And it's a weird. It's just you get into this fucking weird thing where competition's competition. If you want to compete with your peers, you want to compete with your peers. I don't think there's anything dishonorable about that. I don't. You can nitpick the motivations, you can nitpick like all the details, but the idea that I'm going to go out and compete with my peer at something is a primal competitive instinct. It's a primal competitive urge, man. So the more that my point is the more that we.
I would say
it's like
I would say disc golf is a different beast within itself because there's strength and everything, but it's more of strategy, a little more.
No, it's really not. It's really just about power. It's really just about, can you snap the shit out of the disc? I mean, I'm not trying to be facile. I'm not treating it like the detail doesn't mean anything. If you ask me how far the farthest throwing male player is versus the farthest throwing female player, there is a
just like golf.
There is quite a large discrepancy.
You got people who are driving 350, 400, and the women are around.
They're driving 250, 275. I don't know anymore. I don't really follow golf anymore. But
that's what
I know
that there's a huge difference.
Professional women disc golfers.
Could it possibly amplify the sport though to bring other athletes up?
Yes.
I mean, if we're going to be inclusive of them in society in one way, don't you have to be? I mean, at that point, if you're going to say we include them outside of this disc golf course. It's just fuck them on the disc golf course. To me, that's no.
Butt fuck them? Is that
what
what
I guess at the same time, just put them all together and see what happens. But then you see what happens.
I was just about to say that, though.
Throw by 100 yards.
Because the competitor, if you're an athlete and you just want to compete and you want to prove yourself, I mean, that's the spirit of sport, is that you want to get out on the court, you want to prove yourself, you want to get out on the course and prove yourself. I get that people want to compete with their peers all the time. That's fine. That's how I feel. But I play age limited disc golf, so you have to be 40 to play in the divisions I play. So but I feel like those athletes, unless they're really trying to make a social message outside of their own competitive spirit, that you just, if they want to prove themselves and they think they can, fucking let them.
To play devil's advocate.
We don't know what we don't know.
Bring it up, dude.
You try it.
To play devil's advocate.
They want to play against the best, you know?
Messi wants to play against his peers of women.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Well, he won't be able to.
He's going to be good.
He'll be, if they allowed her to, he'd be good.
Statistically and historically, he's gonna be good.
He seems like he's, like he's among the best.
You talked about where to put your money.
This is very true.
Seems like
very true.
I mean, that's a good bet.
I think he'll be good.
But
I mean, he could probably.
He'll produce good statistics.
If you go out there and put money on Messi and he loses to girls, all of a sudden I'm gonna call Ryan and be like, "Yo, come back. We're gonna roast Randy for some shit. He's on video."
Oh, man.
But you know that's not gonna happen.
But
it's not.
You never know.
Let's be realistic.
I don't like.
I know where my money's going.
I don't like.
I mean,
I know
the
where my money's at.
conversation certainly shifts when you say, "Hey, this men's team says they want to come play in the WNBA." Like the conversation certainly shifts the tone and tenor of it. But I think nobody is considering the men underdogs from the jump, and I think that's where it is. Like I think that in our brains, automatically you're going to be like, "Well, then you got someone to prove." Like I don't feel like the men, like from a standpoint of just where we're starting, have anything to prove at that point.
I mean, let's put it this way. I do know.
Watch them go get the shit kicked out of them.
I do know a group of.
Hey, if they fucking do, even if they do okay, like, well, so say they win a couple games though. You think that's not going to produce a bump for women's soccer and fandom? Like, it's 100%. Fucking a huge deal. That's a huge deal.
So some X-Men players
played
the women's and won 12-0.
Okay.
I mean, you don't see that in
league
play.
I just want to break you for a second.
Go for it.
Girls team calls out guys team. We haven't seen him play. I'd promote the event personally.
Well, we've seen it played. We've seen it played multiple times. History. I've seen history played out.
Let's see. I mean,
let's see what happens. We have some data.
What happens if this is the one that we get back? We get to come back to. You can't, like, if this were to play out.
We need to fix that game.
So you have one outlier,
100-1,
and then a million.
I want to flip it on its. I want to put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it for you.
Just because it may happen one time doesn't make it.
Like Ryan said, I want the guys to, like, what happens? So the girls post that on social media and it goes viral. Just play this out for me. The United States men's national team comes out and says, "We're better than the U.S. women's national team. Fuck them."
25-0.
Hashtag 2024. Like
final score, 25-0.
But
it
probably wouldn't go well for one level of a metric.
You trying to evoke sympathy for the man in our society? Is that what you were doing over
I'm
there?
just trying to throw it out there that it wouldn't look good or garnish attention to even talk about.
It's been a real tough go being a white
man
in this country.
Our women's...
I have so many complaints.
Our women's team lost 5-2 against a 15 and under. Australia's women team lost 3-0 to 15 and under.
Okay.
Yeah.
X-men versus women. So we're talking aged out men, 12-0.
Well, you said X-Men. That sounds like Superman.
I was gonna
Right?
say,
Those are some fucking powerful dudes.
lots of
dude.
past were out there.
Unless you got that
players.
old doctor in like the wheelchair.
Let's
going,
just
you
be
know?
honest. It's not going to play out.
Doc, you missed
Not the
again.
Avengers, though. Come on, guys.
If
Jesus.
history has proved anything, it's not going to play out well.
Let history speak.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, it is
to me,
speaking.
to me, to me,
The
it's
numbers
just like
are-
You can come
challenge the
back
king,
and yell
right?
at us and be like, "I told you."
You challenge the king.
I mean,
If
I'm
you
not-
think you
I'm
can
not
take him,
against
you
it.
try to take him.
I just so I'm just saying
You
her
fight
statement
awfully
is
hard
bold.
of it for right
Her
now.
statement is bold, saying we deserve it. We're better. We're going to beat them.
The only
I
way
want
you
to see
get
it.
that
I
event
want to
is for
see
her
it.
to come out
Remember-
boldly and say
Remember
it.
what we talk about all the time. We talk about
I think you like that one.
all the time. We talk about people saying shit to say shit.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
So-
Netflix needs to get on this shit.
Yeah,
Right?
I'd
Get
say-
get the streaming rights to
Hey.
it.
I
sent
Make it
you
like
a
that
song
Tyson
a
and
couple
Logan
weeks
You're
ago.
right there, dude.
Let's
Put
go.
your money where your mouth is.
I would love to see it. I
Put your
really
money where
do
your
want
mouth
to see
is.
it.
Yeah.
I want to see what the result is. I think I know
but
where it's
see,
going to
the thing
go.
is,
But
You think?
I don't gloat about it. I see it as a competitor. I don't look at it as some gender separated thing. I think if that team thinks they're great and they feel like they can hang, give them, just play them.
I fucking love to root for the underdog
Play
too.
them.
so
That's
I'm
the
like,
same. That's
yeah, let's
like,
go.
and I want to see them come out and kick them in the fucking teeth. And I maybe that's
go
him in the
Cowboys.
And I punch them in their dicks. Those
Punch
dicks.
him in the dicks. So has social media ruined the current state of sports? I mean, we talked about the 8 seconds. We now have pitch counts or
hold
pitch
on.
clocks.
Hold on.
We now have ghost runners in baseball.
I have a real idea, but I want to demarcate right away before we answer because I think there's two separate ways to attack this.
All right, go for it.
One is it good for sports fans
Yeah.
to pontificate on social media about sports?
Okay.
That's one question.
Okay, yeah.
The other question is it good for professional athletes to have social media accounts? That's a totally different question. Like, that's a totally different question to
I
me.
don't think it pays to have a social media account.
You
at
see-
all.
do you see what I'm saying,
Not as an athlete. No,
as a
I've
personality,
seen-
as like the blue check box versus being the person who's a sports fanatic. Like, there's a way different.
I've
like,
seen
If I made the cover
more
of Wheaties-
careers ruined
No
from
Facebook.
comments
oh Jesus.
than it's done them probably any good.
But I mean,
But
I've
you
seen
gotta
some.
think-
I've seen some tweets go fucking real bad for professional athletes.
That's what I'm
man.
saying.
Like,
It's gone bad,
fucking
real bad.
You
But
seen
at the same
anyone?
time, they can monetize that. They can monetize their
shit.
accounts and make a lot of money off
Yeah.
it on the side.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
you have 1 million, 2 million followers. You can make a lot of money.
That's just that brings up that word that comes along, and you're aware of it being radio. It's engagement.
Yeah.
The engagement metric, the ability to reach. However you build the following, the ability to just like fucking spread.
Well, like you said it earlier that if you could monetize yourself and put yourself out there, there was a way to make it in
brand.
radio and make it
The
profitable.
you brand,
brand
man.
yourself and put it out there and make it profitable.
I mean, I think that it has broken down some of those walls that exist between like fans and the media that cover sports, because now obviously the speed of things, but the way that teams disseminate information, like there's not a lot that can be garnered from being in the media and having a credential other than just being there and being able to ask the questions that you want to ask.
Try to break it first, maybe.
Aside from that, like all of those press conferences are posted on the team's websites. Fans have access to everything, and not only do they have that access, but then they hop online and they all talk about it and they break it down and they share opinions of it, and they get a little more educated as that process goes along. And so I don't think that there's a lot of people that are in that position that once was like, hey, you know more than me. Like, I think now it's like we all know the same
free market
amount
of fucking information,
and
man.
it's really like most of the stuff that's like, the pundits that you see, the talking heads, like it's how much can you entertain me? Like, I don't think you know more than me, but you might be more entertaining than
And you
me.
might hit a scoop every once in a while, but for the most part, you're just a more compelling,
and by
engaging
and large,
person.
like those scoops, they're fed to those people by
Yeah.
the team. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's not a lot that's going on there.
Yeah.
Chiefs game the first Chiefs game, the only Chiefs game this season. Cool. I'm an
Chiefs
idiot.
Baltimore.
Want to know, baby?
There's a fella in front of us
We
in
had a
our
terrific
tickets,
evening.
and he does a thing, and I don't want to dox people here. It's the shoe, but like he bangs a shoe on the seat.
No, I saw that on social media.
Yeah, you saw
I
it
did
on
see that.
Bleacher Report, didn't you?
No, I saw it on the clip.
Barstool.
No, it was actually on one of the reels for Facebook.
So he
Just
bangs
scrolling
a
through.
shoe?
The
Yeah.
guy next to us.
Dude was fucking banging his
Yeah.
shoe like crazy on the seat.
You want to know the funny part? It was a fucking distracted Packers fan who was behind us wearing a goddamn Green Bay jersey who had no idea, didn't care about the Chiefs in the least.
I really
and he's
thought-
like,
I really-
shit, yeah.
I really thought you were going to say he's wearing a Cowboys jersey.
You can all
dim hands, dim cheeses.
fuck
I
yourselves.
can't help it, dude. Anytime I can get a.
You can all
boys,
So
fuck
yeah, like
yourselves.
engagement. My
Love the
question
boys
for you
reference.
is, like, how many pictures, snaps, like, how many do you think go out the second the blue tint of injury pops over, whatever they call that thing?
Like it's always fun being in like the Royals like press area whenever they announce the attendance, and if you have like your Twitter open or tweet deck or whatever it is that you use to do that, like you'll see all of the beat reporters like immediately, like all the tweets, Royals announced attendance, blah blah blah, and it's like it's all the same.
It's already
shit.
pre-written.
Like,
just
yeah.
plug that number in
Like,
real fast.
There's some of it that just like it doesn't even feel necessary. It's
wild.
anymore.
Like, why do it?
Seems
Yeah.
wild, man.
Gets clicks.
And that's what it is.
Click
And I
sell
think it
ads.
still has this air of like, I got some information that you don't have,
Gatekeeping,
kind of
man.
thing. So yeah, it
But-
does give that impression. But outside of that, I think like like I said before, I think a lot of those walls have been kind of torn down because you have the access and ability to kind of press that, and also you have the access and ability to influence the people that are asking those questions.
Yep.
And if you think that they're not paying attention, you're incredibly wrong. Like, I mean, that's part of the entire industry is like you need to make sure you're tailoring it to what people want to know and people want to hear. And so, yeah, you're keeping your finger on that pulse and you're constantly monitoring that. So it has allowed people to have more of a feedback and be able to connect with the folks who are out there covering the team.
Well, normal people can actually get responses from players themselves. Which
Well, and
is
fuck, yeah,
wild,
the teams
yeah.
do that all the time
Yeah.
where they have
With regard-
players take over the Twitter account or
Oh, yeah.
Instagram accounts
Patrick
or things like
Mahomes
that.
retweets somebody's tweet. It's like, oh shit, oh my god.
Or we could go back to the old days. In between innings, they would have a hot dog,
They still do
bang
that.
a chick in the dugout area, and then
I'm
come
thinking
back
the
out
old
for their
Lenny
at bat.
Dawson,
They run a-
Fresca
they run a
and
race now.
smoke.
And I think too, like it has done a lot to like humanize athletes too. They're no longer on
Yeah.
such a high
Yeah.
pedestal. Like we still definitely revere Patrick Mahomes, but like we know he's also human.
Yeah.
and he has
They're not-
very questionable taste on putting ketchup on things. Like we
Yeah.
all know
Yeah.
these things, and so it does humanize these people, and you get
Hey,
to see things that
It
you
don't matter
normally
if he
see.
puts ketchup on a steak to me. It's not my fucking steak.
That's all.
Flush
Just
your own
remember,
toilet.
always bet on mustard in the foot race. Always bet on
Always,
mustard.
always
Never
been on
relish.
mustard.
That's the only.
I've had a
relish.
really good record with mustard winning at games I go to.
Let me
which is
ask you
not
an elephant
common.
question.
Oh, boy.
You're 2 years out with regard to engagement and the tweet deck, which I didn't even know existed until you said that word. Those kinds of things are fun for this.
Gotta consolidate your social media, man.
I followed you guys harder after I met you, and it was because of you that I latched to 610 and had my 610 time. I also, there's another one around town. What was you guys are all probably friends behind the scenes, but at the same time, in terms of like an engagement in business, you got to get the beat on each other, maybe, or no?
I mean, I don't think there was ever really a sense of like scooping anybody on the other side
Gotcha.
of the street. Like it was never anything like that. But I mean, there was definitely a sense of you want to beat them, you want to be on top, you want to be number, especially when there's only two people in the game. Like you're either the winner or the loser at that point, and so there is no
Fighting one
there is
other-
no
one
in
other
between.
station,
There's no
man.
like, hey, top three, baby. Like that doesn't fucking matter.
And there's no mentality of like, at least we're taking home hardware.
No, and like I never felt like a sense of rivalry about things. Like everybody shows up and is doing the same work. Like you're sitting in the same press rooms. You're sitting in those areas. Like nobody's over there sabotaging somebody or cutting fucking mic cables. Like nobody's doing.
Come on, man.
feel like
Bring
you know
symmetry,
Jimmy-
God damn
That
it.
would make one hell of an interesting
Yeah.
like media room.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Prison
everybody's
rules?
scrambling, and you're like, "Hey, my shit works. Come talk to me."
And I mean, like a lot of times too, I had no problem.
Well,
sharing,
somebody's
like,
under you
audio,
going,
like, hey, if you didn't get that recorded,
Here's-
give me your
yeah,
email,
here's
I'll send it
clip.
to you. Like,
This
I don't
is
fucking care.
here's your new podcast. You set one up called "Welcome to the Shit Show." Interview athletes, where everyone comes in. Prison rules, gets to cut cords, whatever, to get the interview on.
It's like running.
Last
it's like
microphone
running-
standing.
Use all your old contacts. Just bring them in as a UFC fight to who
like the
gets to
fucking
the athlete with the
Running
interview with the
Man movie.
microphone that works last.
Final, winner takes all.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I probably gave away content on the idea there. You
It
shouldn't have
happens.
had
That's a
that.
good idea,
We'll
dude.
leave this.
What's up, man?
We'll
Terrible
cut
idea.
that. But now, we're talking about social media and everything. Has it ruined sports? Because we talked about earlier, the average attention span of an adult is around 8 seconds. I mean, we have added the pitch clocks. We have added ghost runners and extra innings. We've limited the mound visits. cut the games down at least 45 minutes. We are now changing the NFL kickoff rules to try to get a little more excitement in there to get returns and everything, because it was an all-time record low last year. I think 22% of kickoffs were returned.
They should just go back to the old kickoff. Like, that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. A lot of injuries.
They will in 5 years.
Head-on collisions.
They'll go back in
like
5
crazy.
years when they're done with new ideas for clicks and likes, and then they'll have a next one.
The first few examples you had were baseball related, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Royals fan, but I'm in a pretty unique situation where I can't watch the games really because I don't have
Bally Sports,
Time Warner, Spectrum, local. Yeah. They're the only ones that carry Bally Sports unless I get an app, and I'm not going to buy an app to watch the game.
But it's like or what is it? The MLB.
You can't even do that unless you use a VPN because it's all locally blacked out because of Kansas City stuff.
Son of a bitch.
There's no happy way to watch the Royals on
that's the fucking problem right now. It's like, I don't know.
But I don't disagree with you about the idea of like sports and social media. Like, it can keep me up to date, and some of the leagues have actually adopted this idea. Like, the NBA does a really good job at like knowing that they can put out highlights on their social media channels, and that's going to get people excited and like at least paying attention to, hey, this game's going on. I just saw this dunk, or I just saw this highlight. I'm going to tune into this. And the NBA actually on their
I think Twitter's really done good too, because you get a lot of up to date in the moment.
Well, and at one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but the NBA was offering like you could jump in and just watch the game in the fourth quarter, and it would be like you could just pay for a certain part of that, and it wasn't a full package subscription. It was just like you could watch any game that you want.
Carte, man.
I did not know that.
And so like they've embraced the idea of knowing how to rope people in and getting you in there, and then being like, hey, you can also watch this content right now. You want to watch the fourth quarter of this game? It's getting tight. You don't
paid for this long.
Yeah,
like, hey, man. Well, no, like, so to top it off, like, I'm a Royals fan. I grew up when they won the World Series in '85. Like, I was 8 years old. I really had a spot for them. Can't watch them. The problem is like, as a fan, I believe the games were too long. They're too long.
And I love the pace of play changes in baseball.
It's amazing. To be specific, the pitch clock, dude. You don't have. I'm tired. I get that there's gamesmanship in pitching. Like, guys that literally
first base. You're not
they literally almost fucking stare down. there's pitchers that have that. That's the persona where it's like, just throw the ball. Like, it's just throw the fucking ball.
I'm all for throwing the ball. I'm all for the bat
throw
flips.
The fucking ball.
I'm all for the.
We don't need 3.5 hours to be a baseball game. In my opinion, boys.
I played baseball as a kid. Bat flips are. There's
that's the best part. Here's the thing. If you don't like a bat flip, don't pitch it.
No, I know.
Don't let them hit it.
That's why I'm the caveat is I understand that there are always extenuating circumstances. That guy's talking shit. Somebody's talking shit to him in the dugout. That's what you never get to see until you get great seats. Like, you're sitting over the dugout. Yeah. They chirp, dude. They chirp the whole game.
Yeah, pettiness. That's if you do it out of pettiness. Like, I love sports hate and like the back and forth of
petty stuff.
Oh yeah. That's
the petty
fun.
stuff does get fun, but I'm saying if you don't want a bat flip, don't fucking pitch it to him.
And if you don't want a bat flip, don't see the Savannah Bananas.
I mean,
coordinated.
Everybody should see the Savannah.
Goals.
Everybody should see Savannah Bananas.
All right, what do we got next, man?
Speaking of Savannah Bananas, I tried to go see him. Secondary tickets were like $500 a piece.
Holy shit,
for real?
Yeah,
the way they came out and played the Monarchs.
Yeah,
damn.
They sell out. They sell out instantly, and they're like $500, and that's to sit behind, on the ground, over the fence in home run territory.
Oh, I have a buddy who's a season ticket holder for the Monarchs.
There you go.
See if I can get some of those tickets.
It's fucking expensive, but
make me some.
Should
money.
Sports fans band together and stop going to games? Because we talked about it a little bit earlier. The most expensive game for a family of four is to go see the Raiders. $1,235 is the average cost.
That's a brand new stadium,
and that's the lowest. That's the lowest. They took the lowest ticket cost and the average, like 2 beers, 4 hot dogs, and parking.
That's not the stadium though where they used to have pictures of the pencils stuck into the ceiling tiles with cups to keep the fucking holes from draining all over the floors.
Fancy stadium.
That Vegas stadium.
I understand there's expenses to all that and stuff, but here in Kansas City,
boys got that fancy stadium.
Family of four, $887.50.
That's $1,000. I mean,
it's $1,000, but that's.
The major sporting leagues, the middle class families was priced out. To me, it was priced out.
Ken-Zee said something today to me.
Only way you can do it is if you buy them all up front.
He said the average American citizen has what, $225 budgeted for
$255.
$255.
Not the American, the average American. That was the average adult.
The average adult
Okay.
has $225. So you're a family of four.
$255.
So you have roughly $510.
Yeah.
Between a family of four.
Okay.
You're not going to the game,
That's. I want to know what their hobbies are.
right?
My hobbies are more. Scotch is more.
Chasing sunsets.
Scotch
babe.
is more expensive than
I
that.
like
I'm just
chasing
going to say
sunsets.
that.
It is.
If you like
It
single
is.
malt, it's a little more pricey than like $250 a
Hey,
year.
the Chiefs tickets make me broke, so I chase sunsets. That's free.
I mean, it's weird because, like, on one hand, like, I understand that it's a real luxury item.
Yeah.
And it's odd to be like, oh, man. Well, yeah, it's because it's not something that you need. It is a luxury item to go to a game and to afford that. And especially when the price starts to escalate when you go into the postseason and all of
Oh
those
yeah,
things.
to
definitely.
go see a Super Bowl, you're looking at about $5,000 a ticket.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say. I don't know the exact numbers, but $4,000 to $5,000 a ticket, and that's the cheapest you can go.
I think it's easy to say that likely most people will never experience that in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Like they'll likely never go to a Super Bowl game. But like I think that the other side of that coin is you don't want to outprice people to have those memories because that's how you build fans, right?
long term.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely
Like
long term.
I mean, that's why like I know people in Kansas City here, like we all have fond memories of going to Kaufman, and that's why it's going to be so hard when they finally rip that thing down.
Yep.
Like it's you build these memories about what you did, and that's how you build fans,
So
and that's how you get them for life. That's
There's
how you
got
hook
to
'em.
there's got to be something that's said though for the experiences. That, 20 years ago, a 65-inch flat screen television that showed high def was like $6,000.
It's true.
And now a 65-inch television.
Here's a
4K,
perfect example. When I was in
needs
college,
an antenna.
My
and you can
roommate
watch
bought a
those.
45-inch
Yeah.
flat screen TV.
Yeah.
It cost him like $4,500.
Yeah.
And that is a $200 TV now.
Yeah, roughly 3 or 4.
And not to mention, it was 8 inches thick,
Oh, yeah.
8 to 12 inches
Was
thick.
it a plasma or an LCD? Is the question.
this was the it was a plasma,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was about 8 to 12 inches thick and probably 150 pounds.
Jesus.
And now they weigh 25
man.
pounds, and you can get them for $200.
I feel fortunate. There's no big TVs in my house anymore.
To think that
They all
the
weigh like 4
first
pounds.
computer was in a semi, and that exists in all these smart TVs.
Transistors, man.
Yeah.
Semiconductors.
Yeah.
Electronic progress, man. Industrial or technological revolution. You talk about it all the time.
Imagine what would happen if we gave them up.
I do think though that and we kind of touched on it earlier too, like the way that people will invest their money in it. It's only going to go for what we're willing to pay for it.
Yep.
And as long as teams are still making those money, selling those tickets, like they're going to continue to do that. It's going to go for whatever.
You said you
whatever
didn't
the
know
market-
economics, but you just
Yeah,
gave a
there
really
you go.
good
It's
argument for
systemic.
like supply and demand.
Yeah, I mean
You really
that's
did.
all it's going to be. Like
I know.
it will
saying,
forever.
man.
It will forever be what. We're
Will
willing
sports
to
be
pay for
priced
it.
out for the average person, though? I think it already
I
is.
think it already is. I think it
Depending.
already has happened. But like, there are always going to be, instances where that happens. Where like, we had that really stupid cold Chiefs playoff game.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
suddenly, every guy in Raytown that wanted to go
750.
house 17 PBRs could afford to go instead
absolutely.
of selling them to the wine and cheese.
I actually looked
Choco
right
crowd.
before the game, and I think you could sit 50-yard line, about 3 rows up for $38.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Arguably, it was a fun game. We didn't even get that cold.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
No, I got
You're a
gear.
fucking liar.
I got gear to
I
survive
walked
that
from the
temp.
truck to the
Beers were
bar to
freezing.
watch that game.
I got gear to
It was about
survive that
100
temp.
feet, and it was god-awful.
I got gear in a flask, dude.
Thought you were a hunter there, Snowflake.
I don't hunt in negative 50.
He hunts in
Neither
shorts.
do I. I'm
He
just
hunts in
stupid
sh-
and have lots of layers.
He hunts in shorts and a tank top, dude. He didn't tell
Hell
you.
yeah,
He has
I
a
do it
preferred-
remotely.
He has a preferred get up that he wears.
It's remote
All right.
now.
But all of us
I got-
that have been priced out, though, we anxiously anticipate those nights where we're like, oh shit, $30,
Yeah.
let's fucking
Well,
go.
what's even crazier is like we bitch about not winning,
Yeah.
bitch about no success. Pat comes, Andy comes, and then all the success
Well, I think,
follows. And it's
success
like-
also drives up the ticket price. Me as
Yeah.
a Cardinals fan right now, they're putting about 8,000 fans in the stadium.
I'm
And
gonna
didn't you
put
say
you-
the Raiders have the highest ticket price? Like that.
I'm
Show
gonna tell
me
you,
the success, please.
I'm pretty sure the Cardinals tickets
Look at
prices
what
aren't going down
Messi
next
did
year.
to season tickets, motherfucker.
Miami, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
You want to talk about the GOAT? Look at what Messi did.
Yeah.
They literally went from what, like 300 to 1,200, and they said, if you don't want to confirm in the next 3 days, fine, we'll take them. we'll take him back and we'll get him to the next guy.
They've sold a lot of pink. They've sold a lot of pink jerseys since then.
Oh, you can't go anywhere without seeing them jerseys.
Seriously, Messenger, Miami.
I watched To Kill Tony, and there's two
I've looked at
jerseys.
Hey man,
I want one. I want the black and pink.
That guy can play.
I gotta wrap real quick. Fun last question, if you're good with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ryan, is it possible for YouTube to be the only place that the Super Bowl be held in the near future?
I can't imagine that. It's the most watched television event of the year, every year.
But who's partnering right now with the YouTube TV and NFL Ticket?
Right, I think,
and it's pumped across all of the big guys' podcasts.
I think, while this is going to be like a super nerdy, comm guy thing, but while the digital divide is definitely closed, there's more people that have access to high-speed internet, and you're able to stream things and have I don't know what the most current numbers are, but high 80% have access to phones and smartphones and technology that's capable of streaming. That's still not 100%. No. And that's the reason that we still have antenna television, because the reason for that medium is so that way we can disseminate news and information, and it'll always be there and it'll always exist. And it's going to be the cheapest way for the NFL to get their product out, and when they do that, they make more money off of it
because they can charge
so
for advertising.
It's not possible for it to be strictly streamed.
I just can't imagine them taking their biggest cash cow and taking it away from the cheapest medium that they have that reaches the most people.
Let's be honest, at least in the next 25 to 50 years.
Yeah.
Because, eventually that's where we're all going. Streaming and all that stuff. There's not going to be probably cable options from now. Right. But I think if a partnership with YouTube means, you mentioned it earlier, the NFL would have to give up some of those rights.
Yeah.
And they will
control over the IP, man.
They will never give up control.
Unless YouTube pays them.
I think obviously they understand the viability of streaming, and I think we all understand the viability of streaming. But at the end of the day, I still have an antenna hooked up to my TV, so I can watch the preseason games. Man. I get the Chiefs games every week. I don't have to worry about having to pay anything for that.
But we are no longer analog, so everybody has a smartphone, so they can download that app. Well, sure. Whether it be on their phone, their TV,
YouTube comes
whatever.
on most phones that I think of.
What I'm saying
it does, but I don't think
split hairs about it. But when you say everybody, the answer is no, not everybody. There's still a
percentage. So there's no possibility
of
infinity.
Oh boy,
it's the final.
It's too late.
I just don't think
that shit now?
I don't see it ever happening because they would have to give up too many of the rights.
That's worth it.
And I think they don't want to give up that audience, too, because, let's face it, it's not just NFL fans that are watching it. People are watching it for the music outside of football. They're watching it for the halftime show. They're watching for the commercials. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you know football, like football. It's not about that. It's about the Super Bowl, and it's an event. It's exceptionally well produced. It's one of the biggest television events of the year,
and we're gonna let it go out our way.
Yeah, like people who don't normally watch it are still tuning in, and those are the people that they might fit into that small 10% that don't have access to those things.
And my thing is the NFL is making the money off the advertisements. Sure. That's all there is to it. They're making the money off the advertisements. I think
you guys win.
I think they lose advertising by promoting it through that way. But joke. YouTube would probably have to buy the rights for $1 billion, and it wouldn't be profitable at that point. So why do it?
And one of the things that the NFL has done that, at least I think endears them to fans is that they haven't made you pay for the biggest of the big sporting events. And if it got to
UFC
a point,
and everything
come
else.
on, dude. Thursday night, Amazon Prime game.
Oh, come on. That's a new topic.
And that's why I said 25 to 50 years. I do feel that it's going to be a $100 subscription fee to watch that event because that's where everything's going.
Man, it's a technological progression.
People lost their fucking minds when you had to pay $5 a month for ESPN Plus to watch KU games and things like that. So, and maybe it's a little bit different because it's collegiate sports and it's not the NFL. But if you told people suddenly you have to pay $5 to $10 a month to watch the NFL, you're going to see a collective losing of the fucking mind.
When you could just throw your antenna up and watch anytime you wanted.
But like I said, 4K, I do feel that antenna is going to disappear in the near future.
It's digital. Everybody had to get the little digital adapter.
Outro, babe.
So, Ryan, it was great to have you here. Yeah, man, hope to have you back.
It was fun. I had a lot of
love sports. Love talking about. Yes,
we gotta get a fan in here.
We like low ventilation. It gets everybody.
You're coming back, babe. You're coming back.
Gets everybody a little excited. I know I'm excited.
Ken-Zee didn't interrupt it.
I can't believe, dude. He didn't do it. He didn't do the intro.
Like an oak.
Because I had to stop him. I did it before it ended.